and welcome to another issue of this nifty scrapbooker. You can see it's a beautiful day here where I am in West Virginia, and it's beautiful outside. It's about 65 degrees, and in March that's kind of unusual, but what we're going to be doing today is we'll be taking your layouts and creating dimension. How do we do that? With a distress ink and inking the edges of our papers. So we're going to be talking about that and talking a little bit about family as we do this next scrapbook layout. So I hope you enjoy it. Here's our layout for today. And welcome to today's layout. We're going to be discussing how to ink and why we do ink our papers. So this will be a show on how to ink your papers, like these lines along here, these lines along here, around the borders and stuff of your photos and stuff like that. So this is actually the layout that we're going to be doing today. The templates I'm using today from Kiwi Lane are Aspen Court, Happy Trails. These are the Aspen Court ones. This is Happy Trails. This is Accents. This is Tiny Accents, Photos, and Photo Mats. So we're going to have a 4x5 photo, a 4x6 photo with photo mats, and we're going to be taking this and making a nice layout. So let's go ahead and put this all away so we can get to our layout. Now what I decided to choose to do is I decided to start with a paper. This is Citrus Teal by Doris, and that's going to be our layout paper for today. Now the colors I chose actually come from my title box. So if you see here, my title box here, this is our first page. This is what our page will look similar to. And I have a little quote up here that says, "I don't want a perfect life, I want a happy life." So we're talking about family today. So we have some pictures of family. But what I did, as you can see in this page, is I took the teals and the oranges out of this here, this tag that I made, and brought them to the page. So most of our pages are teal with our accents and our borders being in the orange. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a page that will complement this page. So we'll just set that to the side. All right. Our first one we want to lay down is this page, this one right here, our polka dots. Now, as you know, I always use a polka dot, I always use a stripe, and I also use a fun border. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using. Plus, we're going to have one to hide our strip there. And that's our Happy Trails one. So, this is Aspen Court, and let's get out our distress ink. So this is my distress ink. I use Tim Holtz distress ink. This is the vintage photo, and I use this one a lot. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to take our finger dauber and daubing it on there. And we're going to be taking the edges and just going down the edges. Now what this does is when you use Kiwi Lane templates, you have all those pencil lines. So I don't know if you can see it in the camera right now. I'll show it up a little closer. I don't know, there's a pencil line right there. So what this does is it hides those pencil lines as well as covers up any mistakes in curves and stuff like that. So you just take it and you brush along the sides, covering up those pencil lines and any mistakes you might have made in cutting. What this also does when you ink this stuff is it creates a bolder look on your page instead of being just flat. Now let's show you here. See how that kind of stands out on the paper? And look at this one. How it just kind of sits on the paper and doesn't look so dimensional. So what our inking does, it helps dimension our paper. So we're just going to be taking this and we're going to be inking this one as well. Bring our ink pad back over, re-ink. And you can buy this distress ink at your local craft store, or if you like the size of this one, you can buy this right off my website at Kiwi Lane at create.kiwilane.com, the nifty scrapbooker. So you can buy these sponge daubers as well as the distress ink as well as these templates that I use. So if you say, oh, I really like the curves of that layout and those templates that he used this week, you can go simply to that page and get those yourself. So, all right, so let's do our border down here. Now this is a little thinner paper, our fun bike pattern paper, so it's a little trickier to ink. but because it's a lighter paper, you can really see the vintage photo distressed edge come out. And because of the way we swipe, it doesn't make like a clear line. It kind of just dusts over the edge. What this also does is, if you notice, this has a white background. It kind of hides the white core of this paper and doesn't show through. Now, some of your other papers that I use is solid core paper, which means it's the solid color all the way through the paper. So you don't have to worry about hiding the edges. But there we go. We got that bottom ready. Let's ink our other piece here. This is a solid core piece. This is Evergreen by Creative Memories. It's a retired paper now. It was from the Shades of Green selection they had several years ago. The other papers I've used on here, the dots and this, are all coordination papers, and this one is an American Crafts paper. So if you're looking to find these kind of papers, you said, oh, I like those colors and shapes. So you have Doris, American Crafts, and these are coordinations. This is the American Crafts. So what we're going to be doing with this one is, if you notice, I just inked the one side here and the one side here of our curves. I never ink the edges because I don't want to feel like I want to feel like it just falls off the page. This one, however, we're going to be inking this side here. Then we're going to be turning it around and inking the other side. Because this is going to stay on top of our seam here, we want both sides to be inked really well. And even though this is a darker paper, this vintage photo really shows up on this paper. So we're going to finish up this one here, and then we're going to do our photo boards, and then we're going to do some cutting of our accents and getting those inked up. So there we go with that one. So we're going to lay this one like this. Our borders will just kind of match the other borders from the other page as it comes over. Now, let me bring this one back to you really quick and show you the difference. See the distress ink around this one, and look at this border. So you have the border, it really makes it more subtle, the bright orange, and creates a nice detailed edge around it as it pops off as you overlap on other papers and other photos. So we're going to take this one here and give it that distressed edge. Now this is going to have a 1/4 inch border around it, our photos. So my photo for this one here is a 4x6 photo. And so what I did is I did a 4.5 by 6.5 inch piece of paper. And I trimmed that down from a 12 by 12. And I found out if you're doing like what I'm doing here and doing a 4x6 and a 4x5, when you go to cut out this paper, the 6.5 and the 5.5 equal, what is it? 12. So that equals, I can put 4 of those on two of each shape on one piece of 12 by 12 paper. Okay, there we got that one done. Let's get our other photo. This will be our 4.5 by 5.5 one. So for the first 15 years of scrapbooking, I never inked any of my pages. And now as I go back and look through my scrapbooks, I was like, oh, they look so flat on my pages. They don't look so dimensional. And I have really loved how this distress ink really makes pages pop. It softens the edges of some of the brighter papers like this orange, but it also makes them pop up off the page where they would normally be kind of stark and bright. It kind of softens that look. So there we go. And there's that. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to set this aside for a moment. And we have our accents. So we're going to do a little bit of cutting. So our accents on this page, we did like the suns on the other page. We're going to do stars here. And that's what I simply did is I simply took the star and traced it on my piece of cardstock. And we'll trace the smaller one there. We're going to take our scissors and we're going to be cutting around. Now, cutting with scissors, you want a nice sharp pair. I like this one by Fiskars. We sell this one. Pair of scissors on my Kiwi Lane site. You can get a pair just like this. But what you want to do is you don't want to cut from the back all the way to the front like that. You want to take your cut and easily go through about half the width of the scissors, length of the scissors blade. And see, we're just going to be cutting around here, this star. And make that turn. What it enables you to do when you're not going all the way to the tip, it makes you make these tight turns like on the star or a sun. It makes them a lot easier to cut. Now remember, I don't have to worry about if I have a little bit of pencil line on it. That doesn't matter. We're going to throw that in my tub there, and we're going to cut out our other star. So this is the tiny accents. The larger star is just from the accents line. It comes with stars, suns. Let's see, there's some other shapes in there as well, like a starfish shape. There's a flower, I believe, all in the accent line. So, and we're just gonna, as you can see with this one, you can see I have a lot of pencil lines. So what we're going to just do is we're just going to lay down our scissors, pick up our inking block here. We're going to ink all those away. Get in those corners there of the star and the ends. And we're almost done this one. There we go. And there we have our nice little star. Okay, now let's do the same thing with this one. Get our Distress ink again. Ink it up. Bring it to this star. When in scrapbooking, it's always nice to have a product that can distress the edges of your paper to make it look a little more worn, a little more homey. But what it also does is it hides a lot of the things I remember for years I scrapbooked, and when I did my scrapbook and I would pencil a template in or something, then I go to cut it out and I didn't get right on the line. I was like, oh no, I have to go back into the eraser, and then it made these little white marks on my paper, and it just got so frustrating. But what this product does is it just takes all that worry away, makes your scrapbooking a lot quicker. So there we go. We're just finishing up the last line of this one. And there we got our star. All right, let's build our page. Remember how we had our templates laid out? We'll set these aside. Those will be the last things we put on. And we'll work on our borders. Okay. Now what I did with this border is I brought it down to the 4-inch line. So we're just going to be putting some tape on this. We're going to be bringing this, as you can see, I have my scrapping easel here and it has lines along the side, so I'm going to come down to the 4-inch on that side, the 4-inch on that side, and that means when I sit my other page up against it, it'll match it. We're going to do the same thing with this one. I'll be butting this up right against this other paper here. And there we go. And then we're going to put our forgiveness strip, as I call it. This is to forgive the lines, or if it doesn't line up right against each other, you have a little gap and you can see the paper underneath or something like that. This will give you the forgiveness that you need. So we're going to bring this paper right up against this paper here. We'll be grabbing this and bringing this down here. Alrighty, there we go. And we got our paper down. Oops, oh, we forgot our bottom one. Let's get this one down. Almost thought I was done with all the borders, and I forgot the one at the bottom, our fun bicycle print. I always like having a fun print with my stripes and my polka dots and my solids. So we're gonna just slide this down in here, put this on the end, slide this in here on the other end, and put it down there. Okay, so let's do our photos next. So we have our photo mats, we have our photos, and let's go ahead and ink those, not ink those, we've already done all the inking, but get our photos down on our mats. I love the Scotch permanent dots adhesive. We have several adhesives we sell at Kiwi Lane. They're different from this one, but I've come to love the dots. So there's our next template or photo mat. I'm going to put some adhesive on our photo, and we're going to be putting this down here. All right, okay, let's see how we're going to do this one. So we might just tuck this in just a hair under this one. Bring it like this. Bring this one over here like this. Or let's see, let's do it this way. Let's tuck this side under here. Go this way. And bring this one over top this one. There, that looks even better. And then when we bring our star in, we'll bring our star up into this section up here. All right? All right, let's get everything laid down. What I traditionally do is I do all four corners and one in the center. That gives a good, nice adhesion to the paper. We're going to be tucking this in there, making that. That doesn't take away from any of our photograph. Remember, we want to scrapbook this, so our photos are the center of our layout. They are what we are attracted to, and what the paper and the accents and all that's supposed to do is it's supposed to add to the, enhance the photographs. So they look right in the center there. All right, let's give our star a little strip on the back of those. We're going to put it right here. We're going to throw our little star right in the top. We're going to just kind of center that on there. And there we go. We have our layout. So the next time you want to do some scrapbooking, think of the Kiwi Lane templates and what they provide for the pages, and we'll be able to help you learn more layouts with the Kiwi Lane templates. So there we go. There's our, we'll scoot this stuff out of the way, and there's our double page spread. I know it doesn't all fit on the camera, but most of it does. And you can see how this page comes together with our photos kind of dancing along the bottom there. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson on using inks to make your paper and your product and your photos stand out. And we'll see you next time on The Nifty Scrapbooker.